The silent lullaby. I've never liked lullabies. Even as a kid, they creeped me out. Something about their slow, dreamy melodies always felt more haunting than comforting. Like they weren't meant to soothe you, but to keep something else calm. I never thought much about it, until the night I babysat Lily. That was the night I heard a lullaby that shouldn't have been playing. The night I realized not every nursery rhyme is meant for babies. I was 19, a second-year psychology student just trying to make rent. Babysitting was my side hustle. I'd done dozens of jobs before this one, some boring, some annoying, but never scary. Lily was just 2 years old, a quiet, doe-eyed toddler who didn't say much. Her mom, Mrs. Halberd, was nice, soft-spoken, polite. She told me her husband had passed away a year ago, and she worked night shifts at a clinic outside town. I was to arrive by 7 p.m., put Lily to bed by 8, and stay until midnight. Easy money, or so I thought. The house was old but charming. Victorian, creaky, with antique furniture and faded wallpaper. Everything looked untouched, like it had been frozen in time. Lily barely spoke a word during dinner. Just nodded when I asked if she wanted more peas and stared at the window like she was listening to something. At 8 o'clock, I carried her upstairs to the nursery. That's when I noticed the music box on the shelf. It was an old-fashioned ballerina one, dusty and delicate, with a little cracked mirror inside. I wound it gently out of curiosity. It didn't work. I tucked Lily in, read her a story, and by 8:20 she was out like a light. I turned on the baby monitor, went back downstairs, and sank into the couch with a bowl of popcorn and my phone. Around 9:15, I heard it. A lullaby. Faint, almost like it was being hummed through water. The baby monitor buzzed softly with static and music. I froze. The music was familiar. The same tune I'd tried to play from the broken music box. Soft, slow, tinny. Hush little baby, don't say a word. But here's the thing. The music box never worked. And the monitor was one way. No speakers. No playback. Just sound from the nursery. I went upstairs. The music stopped as soon as I hit the top step. The nursery door was cracked open. The light was still on. And Lily was asleep. Perfectly still. Breathing soft. No music box playing. No phone. No radio. Nothing. Just her tiny body curled under the blanket, and the music box sitting exactly where I left it. Unwound. Silent. I told myself maybe I was hearing things. Maybe the monitor caught interference from a neighbor's house. So I went back downstairs and tried to shake it off. But 15 minutes later, it played again. And this time, I heard something else with it. A whisper. Not words. Just breath. Like someone exhaling into the microphone. This time I didn't go to the nursery right away. I grabbed my phone, turned on the voice recorder, and held it up to the baby monitor. I sat perfectly still, and listened. The lullaby played slower this time, almost like it was being sung by a child. If that mockingbird won't sing, Mama's gonna buy you a diamond ring. Then, a second voice. A whisper. I told her not to wind it. Chills ran down my spine. I jumped up, grabbed my phone, and bolted upstairs. The nursery door, wide open. Lily, still asleep, but the music box was open, spinning slowly, playing on its own. I slammed it shut and turned to see. Nothing. But the mirror in the box had fog on it, like someone had been breathing over it. I picked up Lily and took her downstairs. I sat on the couch, holding her in my lap while she slept, refusing to go back up. At 11:48, the door creaked open. Mrs. Halberd walked in, looking like she'd aged 10 years in one night. Before I could say anything, she looked at Lily and whispered, "Did she wind it?" I stared at her. Wind what? She nodded at the music box. It only plays if someone invites her back. Who? She didn't answer. But she walked past me, climbed the stairs, and into the nursery. The next sound I heard. Her sobbing. Turns out, Lily had a twin sister. Eva. She died a year ago. Crib death. Sudden. Unexplained. And ever since then, the music box, Eva's favorite, started playing again on its own. Mrs. Halberd said she could hear footsteps in the nursery. Giggles. Whispers. But only when someone new wound the box. She gets lonely, she told me. She waits. And when someone whines it, she thinks it's her turn to be held again. I quit that job that night. But sometimes, I still hear the lullaby. In dreams. Or when I'm half awake at 3 a.m. And the worst part, last week, I found a tiny music box on my front porch. Wrapped in a ribbon, with a note that said, "You wound it once, now she knows your name." It was my first time babysitting for the Armstrongs. Nice couple. New money. Their house was sleek, modern, and unsettlingly quiet. The kind of place with smart thermostats and motion sensors, but no soul. They had just had a baby, Oliver, about 7 months old. Big blue eyes, always sleepy. Barely made a sound. He was what you'd call the perfect baby. Mrs. Armstrong met me at the door, practically glowing in her silk blouse and glass of wine. "We'll only be gone a few hours," she said. "Oliver's already in his crib, so all you need to do is listen for the monitor." Her husband added, "If you hear rocking, don't worry. He likes it, rocking." I asked if they had a smart crib or something. They exchanged a look, one of those silent couple moments. Then Mr. Armstrong smiled and said, "Something like that." They left by 8 p.m. I explored the living room, then parked myself on the couch with my laptop. The baby monitor sat beside me, screen black, audio on. Everything was calm. For a while, around 10:20, I heard it. Creak, creak, creak. Soft, rhythmic, like a cradle being gently pushed. I looked at the monitor. No movement. Still, I got up and crept down the hallway to Oliver's room. The nursery door was open just a crack. Inside, the nightlight glowed a pale blue, casting long shadows across the walls. And the crib was rocking. At first, I assumed it was one of those motion response cribs. Fancy people stuff. But as I stepped closer, something felt off. The crib moved, against the direction of the floorboards. The carpet wasn't even, and yet it moved with purpose, like an invisible hand was rocking it. Oliver slept soundly, curled on his side. I whispered, "Okay, let's not freak ourselves out." I reached for the crib to gently stop the motion. And that's when I touched it. Not the crib. My hand landed on something cold. Not metal, not plastic, not wood, skin. But it was wrong. Too cold, too smooth. Like it had never been alive. And then, it pulled back. I screamed and stumbled backward, hitting the dresser behind me. A music box on top tumbled to the floor, but it didn't break. Instead, it started playing. Slowly, out of tune. "Hush, little baby, don't say a word." Oliver stirred but didn't wake. I turned on the light. The crib had stopped moving. No one there. I checked under it, around it, even opened the closet. Empty. I convinced myself I'd imagined the cold. Maybe it was just the metal rail. Maybe I was tired. I went back to the living room, shut off the monitor. But my heart wouldn't settle. At 11:47, I heard it again. Creak, creak, creak. But this time, louder. More deliberate. And not just from the monitor. It echoed through the halls. Then the music box started playing again. I ran to the nursery. The crib was rocking violently. Oliver still asleep. I screamed his name, but he didn't wake. I grabbed the crib to stop it, and that's when I saw it. Fingertips, wrapped around the crib's side. Pale, gray, pressed into the wood. They pulled away when I screamed. The music box flew across the room by itself and shattered against the wall. I scooped up Oliver and backed away from the crib. Suddenly, the air turned freezing. My breath fogged. The closet door slowly creaked open. Inside, I saw nothing, just baby clothes and toys. But I felt it, watching, waiting. Then a voice, raspy, barely audible, whispered, "He's mine." I ran, down the hall, out the door, into the front yard barefoot, clutching Oliver to my chest. Mrs. Armstrong's car pulled in minutes later, headlights catching me mid-breakdown on the lawn. They took Oliver from my arms gently, asked what happened. I told them, every detail. They didn't flinch, didn't call me crazy. Mrs. Armstrong just looked at her husband and said, "It's getting worse." Turns out, Oliver isn't their first child. Their daughter, Emma, died at 7 months. In that crib, they never moved it. They said she still visits, still rocks her little brother to sleep. But sometimes, she gets confused, possessive, angry. I've been babysitting since I was 16. Not because I love kids or anything, more like I needed money, and watching someone's kid for a few hours was better than flipping burgers or standing behind a cash register. Most of the time, it was chill. Netflix, goldfish crackers, maybe wiping a few boogers. Easy money. But last summer, I got a gig I'll never forget. It started with a note. A strange, handwritten note left on the kitchen counter. And by the time I figured out who really wrote it, it was already too late. The job came through my college's babysitting board. Single mom, 2 kids, nice house in an old, quiet neighborhood. Her name was Sandra. She worked night shifts at the hospital and needed someone to stay from 6 p.m. to midnight every Friday. Her kids, Ella and Max, were 6 and 4. Hyper but sweet. First 2 weeks were normal. We did puzzles, ate microwave mac and cheese, watched cartoons. They were in bed by 8:30. But the third Friday, things got weird. Sandra usually left a little note, snacks in the fridge, TV remote on the couch, stuff like that. But that night, the note was different. Written in messy block letters, almost like a kid wrote it. "Do not open the closet in the upstairs hallway. If you hear knocking, do not answer it. No matter what they say, you're not their babysitter." I laughed at first, thought it was a joke. Some sleep-deprived mom humor. But something about the way it was written felt off. No, thanks, no smiley face. Just that. And when I turned the note over, I saw something even weirder scribbled in faint pencil. "They can hear you. Pretend you don't know." The kids were fine at dinner, but Ella kept glancing at the hallway upstairs. "Did mommy leave you a note?" she asked. I froze. "Yeah, she always leaves notes now," she whispered. "Because of the girl." "What girl?" Ella just shook her head and pushed peas around her plate. That night, after I tucked them in, I sat downstairs trying to brush it all off. But then, knock, knock, upstairs. From the hallway. I paused the movie, waited, nothing. Then again, knock, 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 steady, deliberate. From the closet, I crept up the stairs, my phone's flashlight barely lighting the hallway. The closet door was shut. No breeze. No open window. I leaned in, stupidly thinking I'd hear mice or pipes or something logical. But what I heard was crying. A soft, muffled sob. Like a little girl. Then a whisper. "I want to come out now. Please. I'm scared." My blood ran cold. I didn't move. Then another voice. Almost identical to the first, but flatter, wrong somehow. "I know you're there. I know you read the note." And then, bang. The door shook violently. I ran. Back downstairs. I tried to call Sandra. Straight to voicemail. I texted her. "Hey, your closet is knocking. Please tell me this is a prank." No reply. I grabbed the house phone and was about to call 911 when Ella appeared at the top of the stairs, rubbing her eyes. "There's a girl in the closet again," she said calmly. "She wants to know if you're her new babysitter." I got the kids into my car, ready to drive somewhere, anywhere. But when I opened the front door, there was another note taped outside. Same handwriting, but this time it read, "You can't leave, not until the old one is gone. Only one babysitter at a time." What the hell? I tore it down and drove off anyway. 2 blocks away, I pulled over and called the police. When they got to the house, the closet was open. Empty. No signs of forced entry. Nothing broken. No little girl. Just an old wooden doll, sitting in the middle of the closet floor, holding the note I originally found. Sandra met us at the station. She looked exhausted, pale. She admitted something she hadn't told me when she hired me. Their last babysitter had gone missing 2 months before I started. No break-in, no calls, no ransom. She was there one moment, gone the next. And a week later, the strange notes started appearing. Sandra moved out a month later. I never babysat again. But sometimes I think about that closet. And the voice. The second voice. The one that said, "You read the note." Because sometimes, late at night, I still hear knocking. And a voice that whispers, "I know you're home. I know you're alone. And I've been so good."